My name is Tim Neese. I'm a Defense Space Act lawyer based out of Florida. I handle Defense Space Act claims throughout the world. I'm a veteran of the 3rd Ranger Battalion out of Fort Benning, Georgia. Today, I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about what you can do while you're still overseas after an injury or working under a U.S. government contract before you come home that'll help speed up the time it takes for you to get paid, which is, I understand, most critical for you. I know you're working overseas and making a good living, and you're very worried about how soon will I get paid when I get home. I know that's a question I'm asked often. There are a couple things I want to talk to you about today that'll help speed up that process and make it easier. Okay, so if you sustained an injury overseas, of course, the first thing that you need to do is get medical care. Whether it's with the medic, depending on where you are, whether it's a medic, or whether there's a clinic, whether it's a foreign hospital. Make sure you get medical care and make sure you leave the country with those medical records. If you had an MRI at some hospital in Kuwait or Iraq, try to leave with a copy of that disc, the MRI report, and any medical notes. Your doctor may want to see it back here in the States, and it's also important to have that to give to the DBA insurance company. So make sure you leave with your medical records. That's the first thing, and seek medical care. Second, you have to make sure that you report your injury to your supervisor. I've fallen before. I was in the military before. Your back may hurt after doing something, lifting something, carrying something, and you're hoping it'll just go away. Well, you have 30 days to report an incident to a supervisor, and you should do that in writing. There's actually a form for that, but you can also email your supervisor. Just don't rely on, well, I told my supervisor about the incident. Draft an email, or there's a notice of injury form that you can look up online or talk to a lawyer about, and you can use that. If you want to report what happened, it doesn't mean you're going to go home. It's just that you're covering that base, that obligation of reporting the injury within 30 days by doing that in writing. So first thing, medical care. Second thing, report the incident. Next, if you know you're going to go home to get medical care because they don't have the proper care wherever you are, whether it's Africa, there's some countries in Africa, Iraq, Syria. If you're going to go home for medical care, which I suggest that you do if you have an injury that is causing you pain, if you're going to do that, start looking for a doctor back home while you're still overseas. Under the Defense Space Act, you're entitled to a doctor of your choice, not one selected by the insurance company. And you should take some time and research that. If you have a back injury or neck injury, you're going to want to look for a spine orthopedic surgeon or a neurosurgeon. If you have a shoulder injury or elbow injury, you should look for like a sports orthopedic doctor. If you have a head injury, it might be a neurologist. You can also go home if you have a primary care doctor, but in my experience, I think 95% of contractors don't have a regular primary care doctor. Some people have the VA, and they have a primary care doctor at the VA for those that served in the military, but you need to get a private doctor outside of the VA to take care of you. So look for a qualified doctor. Maybe you have friends or family members that can refer him or her to you. Or research them online. Look for board certified, whatever doctor you need, orthopedic surgeon, neurosurgeon, neurologist. Start looking for that while you're still overseas, because in my experience, contractors will come home. They'll say, okay, I want to go this Dr. X here in Athens, Georgia. And then you call to make that appointment with that doctor, and they'll say, well, the first available time we have is 6 weeks from now. This has happened, and it happens quite often. So then you're left with no medical care during that time. And it's important that a doctor restricts you from returning back to your job So there's this big gap where you come home and you may be in pain. And if you start researching while you're overseas, or you have a family member back home call to make that appointment, you know, get that set for when you get home so you can get the care they need right away. It's better than going to an emergency room where really they just treat you for life and death situations. So while you're still over there, look for a doctor, a qualified doctor back home to go to. You'll probably be contacted by a Defense Base Act, a DBA insurance company. They're going to ask you to send over a physician of choice form. So again, you want to do your research before agreeing to see any doctor. And if I was injured, I'd want the best doctor. From the military, I have a knee replacement. I also have a shoulder replacement I had a couple years ago, and I wanted to make sure I got the best doctor. And right now, my shoulder feels great, my knee feels great. So you want to get a doctor that's very qualified and will go to bat for you as well. Other things you could do before leaving to come home: print up all your wage records. Oftentimes, contractors don't print them up, and it helps get you paid quicker. And we could say, "Hey, your insurance company, here are the wage records for the past 52 weeks prior to the injury," because that's what they use. But me as an attorney representing contractors, I'd like to go back further than that. So if you can print up or email yourself 2, 3 years or more of your wage records, including bonuses, print that up, email them to yourself, because when you come home, you probably will lose access to a site where you can print up all the wage records. Using bank records to show deposits is not really accurate, because net pay is being put in there. We need to figure out what your gross pay is with that employer. So print up the wage records. If there are any witnesses to the incident, copy down their names, phone numbers, emails. We may need to talk to them later on. A lot of contractors go from contract to contract, and you might lose the ability to contact them later. So, copy down their names, phone numbers, emails. If they've written a statement, keep that. Now, almost every time an incident is reported, there's an incident report that is made. Keep a copy of that. Keep a copy of that incident report. That may prove to be very important, throughout the case, especially if the incident report and the medical records overseas are saying, the worker has pain to his neck and back, and later on there's a dispute with the insurance company saying, well, he didn't complain of neck pain, it was just back pain. So I like to point out, well, here's the incident report, here's the overseas medical records. It very clearly shows that he has pain to his neck and back, so you need to treat both. Sometimes the insurance companies will just ignore that and say, well, it was just his neck, and meanwhile he has a back injury. So it's important to keep any incident reports that you have, as well as the medical records. There are many other things to discuss before you leave that help you get paid quicker and get the care that you need when you return home as soon as possible. So it's important to contact the Defense Base Act lawyer. They're not going to charge you to talk to them. I talk to contractors overseas all the time, on WhatsApp, on FaceTime, regular phone. So before you leave, and when you know you're going home, talk to a DBA lawyer. It doesn't cost you anything. They can provide you with important information that you may need for your claim and things that you need to do before you leave. This video can go on for an hour with other tips I have for you to follow before you leave. My name is Tim Neese. The website is defensebaseactlawyers.com. On there it has my email and a contact form. Give me a call anytime. I'll get back to you within a couple hours typically. Again, Tim Neese, my phone number is 772-283-8712, and again, the website is defensebaseactlawyers.com. Thank you.